The Jacobson family tragedy. The Jacobson family seemed to have it all: money, success, and a lovely house in Wellington, Florida. From outside, they looked like the perfect, happy family. But as we often learn, things are not always what they seem. Behind the walls of their beautiful home was a story much darker than anyone could imagine. On what was supposed to be a happy birthday party for two young boys, everything fell apart in the most heartbreaking way. This left a tragedy so deep that the whole country would never forget their names. Trust me when I tell you this. This is the type of case that will stick with you for days. It will leave you asking one scary question: what kind of father could shoot his own family? To really understand the line, that's when Neil Mason Jacobson first met Frankie Sue Sulkoff. The perfect love story. Their paths crossed at a gym in Bayside, Queens, New York. Both lived and worked there at the time. Right from the start, they seemed like they were made for each other. Both were hungry for success and doing well in their jobs. Frankie was making a big name for herself at the famous Lehman Brothers company, a giant in the money world. Neil had already built his own small business on Long Island. They were young, driven, and walking toward what many people call the American dream. People who knew them said wonderful things about their relationship. They described it as built on deep respect and love. Frankie was completely devoted to Neil. In return, he was seen as the charming, kind-hearted man who had everything going his way. In his family and friend circle, he was often seen as the golden boy, smart, charming, and seemingly unstoppable. He had a way of making things work out. To everyone around him, he and Frankie looked like the perfect match. It didn't take long before they took the next big step. They got married and settled into life was smooth and easy. Neil kept growing his career in mortgage banking. Eventually, he started his own mortgage business. Frankie stayed dedicated to her work in finance. Together, they built a comfortable and happy life filled with shared hobbies and adventures. They were the kind of couple who did everything together: bike riding, underwater diving, weekend trips to the country. They created memories that only made their love stronger. From the outside looking in, they had everything. But even with their seemingly perfect marriage, there was one thing missing: children. Marriage, there was The long road to parenthood. They desperately wanted to start a family, but the road to having children was not easy. For years, they faced the crushing reality of not being able to have babies naturally. They went through the tiring process of many fertility treatments. Each one brought hope and heartbreak at the same time. It was an emotional fight, but they refused to give up. Finally, after years of waiting and struggling, their prayers were answered. In 2003, they welcomed twin boys, Joshua and Eric. Already blessed with a comfortable life, Frankie and Neil were happier than they had ever dreamed possible. Their family felt complete, and they were doing great in both their personal and work lives. However, there was another problem that kept bothering them: distance. Neil's parents, Harold and Goldie Jacobson, had moved from New Jersey to Florida in the year 2000. While they enjoyed their new home, they deeply missed being close to their son and his growing family. They often talked about how frustrated they were with the separation. They wished they could spend more time with their grandchildren. The move to Florida. By 2005, life took an unexpected turn for the Jacobson family. Harold was diagnosed with cancer. His condition got worse quickly, making travel to New Jersey impossible. This became a breaking point for Neil. The thought of being so far from his father during such a hard time was unbearable. Without hesitation, he made a firm decision. He was moving his family to Florida to be closer to his parents. But even before the move, Neil had already started buying Florida real estate. He had bought a pre-construction investment apartment in Lantana. Not long after, he bought another one. Real estate became something like an obsession for him. Soon, he found himself buying a third pre-construction apartment. He knew he was spending too much money, but the appeal of the booming market kept him going. Frankie, on the other hand, was doubtful. She spoke up about her concerns, questioning whether his growing investments made sense. But Neil was determined. His mind was set, and nothing was going to change it. With his property up in Florida, Neil began pushing Frankie to move. She was resistant and hesitant to leave behind the life they had built in New Jersey. She loved their home, their community, and the stability they had created. But as time passed, the money strain of keeping their New Jersey home became too much. The mortgage was becoming too expensive to handle. Eventually, Frankie reluctantly agreed to the move. The Jacobsons officially settled in Florida, eager to start a new chapter close to family. However, things did not go as planned. Neil had hoped to sell their New Jersey home before the move, but the market wasn't helping him. With no other choice, he decided to rent it out, hoping it would at least bring in some money. But just 2 months after they arrived in Florida, tragedy struck. Harold Jacobson passed away. The loss of his father devastated Neil in ways he hadn't expected. He had uprooted his entire life to be closer to Harold, only to lose him so soon after arriving. The grief weighed heavily on him.
Two Montgomery County children killed over a pending divorce. Today, their mother, Brandi Worley, sentenced for a chilling crime that horrified central Indiana.
Police investigated what happened in the early morning hours of November 17, 2016. Brandi told them everything. During the night, she'd woken up Tyler and told him they were having a sleepover in Charlie's room. She led him to his sister's bedroom. On the way, Brandi picked up a sharp knife that she had bought from Walmart earlier that evening. She hadn't gone to buy school supplies. She had gone to buy a weapon to murder her own children. Charlie was sleeping peacefully in her bed when Tyler came into the room. Then Brandi did something no mother should ever do. She stabbed Tyler in the neck multiple times. The attack woke up Charlie, who asked what was happening. It was dark, and the little girl couldn't see clearly. Brandi told her to go back to sleep, then stabbed her too. While her two children died in front of her, Brandi tried to take her own life with the same knife. She was badly injured and had also taken a large amount of Benadryl, a medicine that made her drowsy. After the murders, Brandi called her mother and told her what she had done. Her mother was horrified and said she would come over right away. Then Brandi called 911. The recording of that call is haunting. When the emergency operator answered, Brandi said in a calm, emotionless voice,
"I just stabbed myself and I killed my two children."
You stabbed yourself and killed your two children?
Mm-hmm.
The operator asked her why she did it, and Brandi replied, "My husband wanted to divorce me, and he wanted to take my kids. I don't want him to have my kids." During the call, Brandi seemed almost robotic, showing no emotion about what she had just done to her own children. When asked how old the children were,
How old are your children?
7 and 3.
10 and 3?
7.
7 and 3?
Mm-hmm.
she told the operator that she had stabbed herself in the neck and that she had taken a lot of Benadryl. Jason, who had finally decided to free himself from his toxic marriage to build a better life with his children, was now living his worst nightmare. He couldn't help but wonder, if he had slept on the couch instead of in the basement, would he have heard what was happening? Could he have saved Tyler and Charlie? Or would he have been killed too? These questions would haunt Jason for the rest of his life. Brandi was arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. At first, she pleaded not guilty and planned to claim she was legally insane. Her defense team argued that she was suffering from severe depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. However, no one believed her insanity defense. The prosecution argued that the murders were premeditated, pointing to the fact that she had bought the knife specifically for this purpose. Eventually, Brandi changed her plea to guilty. In March 2018, she was sentenced to 120 years in prison, 65 years for Tyler's murder, and 55 years for Charlie's murder. During the sentencing hearing, Judge Harry Siamas said something that stuck with everyone in the courtroom. Sometimes there's no explanation. Darkness is in this world, and it penetrates our minds and our hearts. Brandi Worley is still alive and serving her sentence at the Indiana Women's Prison in Indianapolis. She will remain there until her final days, as she is not eligible for parole. Jason tried to rebuild his life after losing his children. In a final update on Reddit under a different username, he said that no sentence, no matter how harsh, would bring Tyler and Charlie back. He said that even the death penalty would have given Brandi what she wanted, to die. since she had failed to kill herself that night. Jason's life became a constant struggle after losing his children. He turned to alcohol and even thought about ending his own life. But with help from his family and friends, he slowly began to cope with his unimaginable loss. He said that every day was a challenge, but he was working on moving forward. The case has continued to attract public attention years after the tragedy. In March 2024, the Investigation Discovery Channel aired an episode about the case called "She Hid the Knife in a Toy Box" as part of their Evil Lives Here series. The episode examined how Jason lived with Brandi without knowing the darkness that existed inside her. Tyler and Charlee Worley were innocent victims of their mother's selfish and evil act. Tyler was a 7-year-old boy who attended Sugar Creek Elementary School. Charlee was just 3 years old, a little girl who should have had her whole life ahead of her. Just days before their deaths, the children had made a birthday card for their mother. The card read, "Happy birthday, Mommy, from Tyler and Charlee. You're so special, Mommy. If ever any mommy was loved a whole bunch, you must know who it is. Just bet you do. And if ever any wish was filled with hugs and kisses, this is. And Mommy, you can bet they're all for you." This card, shown by police at a press conference, demonstrated the pure love these children had for their mother. A love that she repaid with the ultimate betrayal. The Brandi Worley case raises difficult questions about domestic relationships, mental health, and the lengths some people will go to when they feel they're losing control. It shows how someone can appear normal on the outside while harboring dangerous thoughts and intentions. Many experts have studied this case to understand how such tragedies can be prevented. Warning signs might include threats involving children during custody disputes, extreme possessiveness, and statements about rather dying than losing custody. The case also highlights the importance of taking threats seriously. When someone says they would rather their children be dead than living with an ex-spouse, that should be treated as a serious warning sign. The murders of Tyler and Charlee Worley represent one of the most heartbreaking crimes a parent can commit. Brandi Worley's decision to kill her own children rather than allow her husband to have custody of them during a divorce shows a level of selfishness and evil that is difficult to comprehend. Jason Worley lost everything he cared about most in the world. He had tried to do the right thing by leaving a toxic marriage, but his children paid the ultimate price for their mother's inability to accept losing control. Today, Brandi Worley sits in prison, where she will spend the rest of her life. She took away 2 beautiful lives and destroyed countless others in the process. Her actions serve as a tragic reminder that some people will choose the most evil path when they feel cornered. The memory of Tyler and Charlee Worley lives on in the hearts of those who love them, especially their father Jason, who must carry this unimaginable burden for the rest of his life. Their story serves as a warning about the dangers that can exist behind closed doors and the importance of protecting children from those who would harm them, even when that person is their own parent.